Doha, the capital of Qatar, a nation at the crossroads of diplomacy and conflict. On this day, all eyes turned to the Foreign Ministry, where a press conference would shape the next chapter in the region's tense standoff. Qatar, often described as a small state with outsized influence, stepped into the spotlight following an unprecedented Israeli strike. Qatar's Foreign Ministry spokesman, Majed al-Ansari, addressed the press. His message was clear. This attack was not just an assault on individuals, but an assault on the very foundation of diplomacy. I will keep repeating the same message. It is very clear there is no validity to talks when one party wants to assassinate anybody who is willing to talk on the other side. What kind of talks can be held? About what? Ansari's rebuke echoed through the hall. The logic was simple, yet piercing. Negotiations cannot survive when negotiators themselves are targeted. In Doha's eyes, the Israeli strike had not only disrupted diplomacy, it had undermined the very concept of dialogue. But beyond the sharp words directed at Israel, Ansari turned his attention to the United States. Qatar, long considered a crucial mediator in Middle Eastern affairs, underscored its appreciation for Washington's partnership. For years, American officials, from presidents to secretaries of state, have recognized Doha's role in keeping channels open with groups like Hamas, and this acknowledgement was once again on display. We, of course, understand very fully that there is huge appreciation from the US for our role as a mediator. We highly appreciate that the United States is in partnership with us over a lot of these efforts, not only in Gaza, but around the world. So I won't anticipate any change in the position today. Here, Ansari reminded the audience that US support had been consistent. Qatar's efforts in Gaza and elsewhere were not unilateral. They were backed by a powerful partner. But then came the most consequential line of the day, a call for renewed defense ties with Washington. Yes, of course. As President Trump said in his call to His Highness, as was reported in the readout, and what Secretary Rubio said today, this attack, of course, expedites the need for renewed strategic defense agreements between us and the US. It's not something new per se, but certainly expedites the process. With these words, Doha sent a clear signal. The Israeli strike had not scared Qatar into retreating from mediation. Instead, it had pushed Qatar closer to Washington, accelerating discussions for strategic defense agreements that had long been in motion. To understand the gravity of this announcement, one must look back at the US-Qatar security partnership. For decades, the Al Udeid Air Base has stood as a symbol of this alliance. Housing thousands of American troops, it has served as a launch pad for operations in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria. Qatar has invested billions into expanding the facility, ensuring it remains indispensable to Washington's military strategy in the region. Now, in light of the Israeli strike, these agreements take on renewed urgency. What might have been a routine renegotiation has transformed into a fast-tracked process, as Doha seeks stronger assurances that its sovereignty will be respected and defended. The strike itself remains a source of deep controversy. Israel justified the action by claiming it targeted Hamas operatives linked to attacks on its citizens. But to Qatar, it was an act that violated international norms, endangering its capital and tarnishing its role as a host for fragile negotiations. This raises a critical question. Can Doha still function as an impartial mediator when its neutrality has been so directly challenged? For Qatar, the answer seems to lie not in stepping back, but in doubling down, strengthening ties with the US to shield its diplomatic role. By invoking the names of President Trump and Secretary Rubio, Ansari deliberately tied Qatar's future defense posture to America's top leadership. This was no offhand comment. It was a diplomatic reminder that Qatar enjoys Washington's backing and that this relationship now carries even greater importance. For the United States, the situation is delicate. Washington continues to support Israel's right to defend itself, yet it relies heavily on Qatar to mediate with Hamas, a paradox that has only grown sharper after the events in Doha. The implications ripple far beyond Qatar's borders. Renewed defense agreements could mean expanded US military presence, new arms sales, or enhanced intelligence sharing. For Israel, this may reinforce its sense of security, but it also complicates its calculus, knowing Qatar is drawing even closer to Washington. For Palestinians, the picture is bleaker. If Doha itself is no longer safe for talks, where can dialogue truly happen? And for the region at large, this incident underscores a familiar reality. Every strike, every speech, every pact reshapes the fragile balance of power. Majed al-Ansari's press conference lasted only minutes, but its impact will last far longer. Between Israel's strike, Qatar's defiance, and Washington's next move, the Middle East braces once again for uncertainty. What began as a press statement in Doha has become a diplomatic turning point, one that could redefine alliances, negotiations, and the future of US defense in the Gulf.
مساكم الله بالخير.
يعطيك العافية سعادتك.
لا.
عندنا 3 أسئلة. السؤال الأول
على المساهمة في تلبية الاحتياجات الإنسانية والصحية للشعب السوري الشقيق وتعزيز العمل الإنساني.
يركل مع قطر في الدفاع عن أجواءها في حال تعرضها لهجوم جديد. والسؤال الثاني
تقارير صحفية بشأن معرفة البيت الأبيض بموعد الهجوم على قطر.
وما إذا كان قد فشل من عدمه، فقال إن الهجوم لم.
I will keep repeating the same message. It is very clear. There is no validity to talks when one party wants to assassinate anybody who is willing to talk on the other side. What kind of talks can be held about what? We, of course, understand very fully that there is a huge appreciation from the US for our role as mediators that has been stated in all the official statements by Israeli officials, including President Trump, and we highly appreciate that the United States is in partnership with us over a lot of these efforts, not only in Gaza but around the world. So I won't anticipate, any change in the position today. Yes, of course, as President Trump said in his call to His Highness and reported in the readout, and what Secretary Rubio said today, this attack, of course, expedites the need for renewed strategic defense agreements between us and the U.S. and certainly, but it's not something new per se, but certainly expedites the process.